that a lot of these countries will have minerals, like for example Angola. They have lots of minerals, but they have been managed by the Portuguese for many decades, and the Portuguese were terrible colonialists. So they really were very effective in the concept of divide and rule. So Portugal was not that economically strong. So in order to manage a colony, they needed to actually get support of the local people, because otherwise colonization is kind of expensive. You need to bring many people. You cannot simply go in there and say, okay, I'm going to control this entire country. It's just too big. There are too many people. So the only way to actually control countries in Africa by countries like small countries like Portugal and Belgium was to use the support of local people. So usually getting support from a big group is also expensive, because you need to bribe many people. So usually what they would do, they would just take the weaker group who had been fighting for their rights for a long time, because they were suppressed by the majority, and you give them a privileged position.
Are you talking about tribal strife?
Tribal strife, or whoever is suppressed. So the mindset of a colonialist
split country
is that, right? So the mindset of a colonialist is, you just find a group that has been suppressed for a long time, and you give them all the power to control that country. So that's also what happened in Rwanda with the Hutus and the Tutsis. So the Hutus were by far the majority, but Tutsis have been given all the influential positions during the colonial era. So because if you give the power to the minority, then basically the minority is very happy, because they can use their power to get more money, to get more influence and everything. They also know that their power will be lost as soon as the colonialists will retreat, because the colonialists give them weapons, and they give them money to support them, but just enough to keep the power balance, not to make them rich, no, just to keep the power balance. So they just support the minority a little bit, so that they can just leverage the power the bigger power. So basically they just make up the difference by making the weak stronger, just enough to create a power balance, and then the colonialists can use that kind of like the balance, the internal strife, to focus on getting the minerals out and the oil out and everything else out. So that is the game of power for a colonialist country. Now, for example, not Uganda, in what did I say? The country north of South Africa. Well, anyway, so the former colony of Portugal. They did this, and it really divides people. So once Portugal got out, everything still there were the people who had power were the minority people, and then gradually the majority people would start to make a claim for their rights, because basically they are a majority and they're supposed to reinstate democracy. But democracy is not something that the minority wants, because they know they're going to lose their power, because there are many more people in the who they have been suppressing. So that is the period when war starts and war breaks out, because the minority doesn't want to give up on their power. They don't want to give democracy. But then the United States comes in and says, oh, well, we all want democracy because democracy is good. So then war starts, and the misery continues.
It's the same thing happened in Central America and South America.
Yeah.
1 decade more, 1 century ahead of Africa. Same,
Right.
same happening. So Africa is the last resort for the kind of strife. Still they are undergoing now, right?
Right.
And dictatorship. It's easy to
Right.
solve their how to govern that nation, but still Westerners heavy involvement, and China is invading now economically, but they are very heavy scarce resources. They much minerals, but scarce resources
Right.
of human resources.
So, when you were talking about China, for example, when they are investing in developing a railway in Kenya,
Oh yeah, Kenya, disastrous.
it cost billions of dollars. So
Yeah.
it's different from what the British did, but it's actually the same. So they invest a lot of they bring a lot of money, not really invest. They bring a lot of money to make a railway, right, between Mombasa and.
Oh, you
Nairobi.
mean the British is 1900?
Yeah, so the British they ruled, they used the divide and rule principle, right? So
Yeah.
they got the support from a minority, and they helped to control Kenya by supporting the minority.
Mm.
But what the Chinese are doing now is that they bring in a lot of money to build a railway, and basically the railway, they have a local support, and they make a project, and it benefits only a few people. But then when people can no longer pay for that railway, they say, well, okay, then basically, well, you need to repay me. And then they say, well, okay, then give me your natural resources.
Mm.
So that is basically, they take the money from the entire population.
Mm.
It's actually the same story. It's divide and rule, but it's version 2.0.
Mm. That's right, right,
It's colonialization with money.
right, right. Now China is one belt, one road spread all over the world.
Right, right.
Right, they have lots of cement and lots of steel, for construction.
It's
Overproduction.
neocolonialism.
Right. But Chinese is company, Chinese government, they are not interested in regime itself. Okay, they are interested in money.
Exactly. That's why I wanted to talk about global finance, because I think that if you look at global finance, you understand the world much better.
What do you mean global finance?
Global finance. So what I'm talking about is that China is investing billions of dollars in Kenya. Why?
Of
It's
course,
the
they
same
try to get 10 times more. Right?
So
Trump,
then they
Trump
can
way,
do that.
Trump way. Just invest $1,000. He want to get $10,000.
Right, but so basically what we used to do in the 19th century was we would come in, we would bring our ships and our guns, and we would start to use our military power to take out all the resources, to get more influence and to rule the world, right? So that's colonialism 1.0, but colonialism 2.0 is that we take our money, we give loans to develop infrastructure. Then after they cannot repay pay back the loans, we take their natural resources. It's exactly the same situation, but no gun is being used. It's just the banks who provide the loans who support this kind of system. So that's the colonialism 2.0.